We got the G in the garage. So this thing is blown. Should I try to start it?
Yeah, start
Here,
it
hold
up.
it.
I want to hear this.
It's the battery's probably dead, but I mean the window open. It's not gonna start.
You don't think so?
Well, it started in the last video.
Oh.
Ricky ticky 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 ticky. I think it's just a valve tick, dude. All right, we got the hood and the bumper off. We got to get the fenders off, but everything is pretty much in there by a couple bolts. See, the headlights are ready. I think.
One more.
Wait, what? Oh, right there. That's a 12 millimeter. And then both the headlights will be out in this thing. I think this is the last time the G front end will ever be on here, dude, honestly. Like, farewell.
No, it's gonna be sold, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be posting these parts up. Well, the only thing that can be sold is the headlights and the hood. The bumper's kind of trash, and then the fenders kind of trash. Well, the fenders are gonna be cut in half. So we got pretty much everything off of the front end besides this side fender, because I don't have my jack. I let Micah borrow my jack because we were doing his clutch, but I need a jack to get the fender liner. But I think it's about time, since we all know this car is sticking around. I think it's time to put the Should Be Good sticker on it. Here, you want to hold this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Everything else.
Come on, mean. Dude, that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Here, let me get that back shot.
Or at least it should be. So I got the whole front end off. You can see both fenders are off, bumper, headlights, hood. And a couple videos back when I was mocking up the 350Z front end on this car, I wrote down a couple notes and yeah, just kind of where I was going to start with the front end swap. Main thing is the hood fitment. Without the hood lining up, pretty much everything else won't line up. So I need to get the hood lined up first, and the first note that I made was I need to clear the windshield wipers. So if you guys remember, the hood was pushed up against the windshield wipers probably about a 1/4 inch, and it was making it so I couldn't lift up the wipers at all. There's two ways I can get around that. There's spacing out the hood, making it a little bit lifting up, but that'll be a lot harder than I think. That means I'll have to space out the fenders and everything else to compensate for the hood. Or I can drill out these holes a little bit farther and actually completely cut this one out, and then put a nut and bolt with a washer. That'll hold, and then this back one will give it enough support. But that'll push out the hood a little bit farther forward, just enough to clear the windshield wipers so I could use those. And yeah, there's obviously a third route, which would be not using windshield wipers, but definitely want to keep those. After I get the hood aligned, the next thing that I'm going to have to attack is the headlights. To get the headlights on here, I have to completely cut the radiator support right here. So after the hood and after the headlights, the third and final thing I have to do, besides the bumper is just going to bolt up. That's going to be super easy, but the fenders is going to be the hardest part. You guys know that I have to use the top section from the Z fender, obviously the headlight mount, and then the hood alignment. So basically I'm just going to use the headlight and up to the hood. The rest is going to be the G fender. They're completely different sizes. I assume that the coupe would probably be more along the lines of the Z, but the sedan is just so different, and to make this fit and make it look nice, it's going to take a lot of custom work, but probably not going to do anything of that right this second. I'm going to focus on getting the hood all fitted. I'm going to do some measurements, probably drill this completely out and drill this down, I don't know, say a 1/4 inch. We'll start with that, and then test fit the hood and see if it clears the windshield wipers, and then that'll be a great way to start. So I figured out what I'm going to do for the hinge situation. So instead of extending it, you can see that I cut and welded it, trying to extend it a little bit out. I did a 1/4 inch and it still didn't clear the windshield wipers. So I think honestly it would take about a 1/2 inch of extending it, and then that would cause a lot more different problems down the road with fender fitment, headlight fitment, bumper fitment, and especially the hood latch fitment. If you see right here, you can see that the hood latch is already about an inch forward, so moving it another half of an inch would make it even crazier for me to get the latch situation going on. So what I actually did was just see a little bit of a space. You can see right here, that is barely any of a space. If it would focus, it would be great, but that's about maybe an eighth of an inch. You can see that this part is lifted right here, and I just threw in a wrench right there, and yeah, it works amazingly. Just that tiny amount of space, that really won't even do anything to the fitment, especially because I have to build the fenders around the hood. It won't make that big of a difference. So you can see when I turn on the windshield wipers, you can see that it completely clears it perfectly. Just got back from Park Roads. I got a bunch of assorted washers, and I already threw the ones that I wanted to use for this on. So you can see I put 2 on each to use the bolts. Without this washer, I would definitely be able to space it a little bit higher, but I want to get away with spacing it as little as possible. I'm still going to get different bolts, and I'm still going to weld these up and grind these down a little bit more so it looks a little cleaner. But you can see with just 2 washers around the whole side, you can see that the windshield wiper does move good. The battery died, so I can't really fully test them, but you can see it still rubs a tiny bit, and I think honestly if I sand this down, the wiper, just literally barely, it'll be able to go up and down completely flush. If you guys remember, this hood was completely bent down right here, and now it actually looks pretty good with a little bit of a vice grip. Still needs some Bondo obviously and some paint, but I'm gonna hit this a little bit more with a hammer when I get to that point, and yeah, the hood's gonna be mint. So I busted down on a little bit of cutting and a little bit of welding, and I came up with these triangles. So what these are going to do are act like washers. So instead of using an 1.5 inches worth of washers, I cut 1.5 inches of metal and I welded it into a triangle so that I could use them perfectly as spacers for the hood latch. So this is gonna space out the hood latch perfectly for the latch on the hood, and it'll be perfect. So this thing, you can see it's really flimsy, so I'm just gonna build a tiny, when I do have the radiator support off, I'm gonna build a tiny little bracket that brings this out a little bit farther so that I can do that bottom mounting point. But honestly, I think these 2 will do the job, but I'm still gonna do that when the whole radiator support is off. I need to get longer bolts for these because these bolts are a little bit too short. So I'm gonna take these down to Park Roads and get new bolts and some spray paint, and we'll be right back. Didn't end up going to the store. I was actually looking at how the triangles looked, spacing it out, and it looked really, really ugly. So I ended up welding this little tiny piece of metal to this, and it spaces it out perfectly. And now I can go grind this down and then bolt it up, but this looks a lot better than the 2 little triangles that were in there. And also the 2 little triangles just kind of looked a little sketch, kind of just felt like a big washer to me. But now this is a proper spacer and it feels really, really durable. And yeah, definitely really happy with this. Now I'm gonna grind it down, gonna go buy that paint and those bolts, and then we'll paint this up and then see how this looks. Back from Park Roads, I got this little thing grinded down a little bit. It looks a lot better than it did, and I have it all mounted up. I got the extended bolts, and it looks like it's in the perfect position. I had to bend this little bottom bracket down. I'm actually gonna cut this off and use this bottom bracket for when I do the last little third mounting point. But I wanna see if this works, and if it does, then that'll be awesome, but if it doesn't, then that'll suck. But there's pretty much no way that it won't work because I extended it perfectly. I did the measurements, and it closes, but does it shut completely. There we go. Awesome. So it's down. That's awesome. It's got a little bit of play. I'm sure that's not too bad, but let's see if it opens. That'll be the main thing. Perfect. Make sure you guys smash the thumbs up. This thing is going to be insane. I know it looks really weird right now and you really can't see the vision, but as soon as it's done, dude, this thing, it's gonna be insane. So last night I did a little bit of cutting to the core support. You can see I cut all that out to fit the headlight, and now I can actually get the headlight to align with the hood. So next thing I have to do is build a bracket from this hole right down here to that hole for the top of the headlight, and then I have to build a bracket from this little hole right here to this hole right here. So it's not going to be that hard. It's just going to take a little bit of cutting and welding and a little bit of bolts. So I also have to reinforce this a little bit because it's gonna, yeah, it's a little wobbly. So I'm gonna take this and build a little tiny little plastic bracket to the frame rail or wherever I can get it to be a little bit more sturdy. But I got some awesome news last night. You know, while this is down, I went ahead and pulled the trigger on this Nissan hardbody. This is a 1995 hardbody with a single overhead cam carbureted. I had one of these before, but I had it for only a couple days. So this one I'm actually going to keep around the channel for at least until that's done. And then I kind of want to just keep it, you know, beat it up, use it as just a shit car that I could just have all the time, that gets good gas mileage, reliable, and I can like load engines and stuff into it. But you can see the front end is black, the rest of the car is purple, truck I mean, and it has no tailgate, but it's got a little bit of stogies in the back. Windshield's not cracked at all. 5-speed manual, everything works, heater, AC, and it's actually surprisingly pretty stock, not missing anything, and it actually drives pretty damn good. Obviously the hood and the fenders are black, so something happened up here. You can see there's a little bit of crash on the bumper, but I'm sure I could find a little shit bumper or even make one, and it'll look a lot better than this. The fender I'm just gonna pull out and try to make that one salvageable. You can see that the blinker's hanging down. I'm gonna get a little bit of zip tie that back on, and yeah, this thing's pretty cool looking. I need some air in the tire because it's leaking, and you can see right there, but I don't know. I definitely need to get that fixed. So right now we're going to Harbor Freight. We're gonna get a tire repair kit, and hopefully that fixes that little leak. But this whole truck, it's got 200,000 miles on the dot, and I got it for 350 bucks. So clean title, nice little truck. It's obviously not completely clean title, but clean title, 350 bucks, and it runs perfect. And it doesn't have pretty much any problems at all. No check engine light, nothing. I'm super happy about this little purchase. I can load up engines, like I said. I could load up whatever, and I could just treat it like dog shit. Maybe go a little off-roading with it, and just, you know, be a part of the truck life. Woohoo! Runs great, sounds great. Gotta build an exhaust for it. Got a radio, no USB, so eventually I'm gonna have to get a USB for that or something. Alright, let's go wash this thing. Washing the truck. I like the paint. It's like a midnight purple. The black front end. Zip tied, baby. This thing is funny, huh? Back in the garage, the hard body cleaned up really good. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to build a whole custom headlight brackets for the car. Honestly, I think tomorrow's video will be the end of putting the 350Z front end on this thing. All I have to do is build the headlight brackets and also do the fenders. The fenders are going to be the hardest part, like I've said countless times, but I think it's really going to work out, and it's finally going to be done, and it's going to be super sick to have this all done. Then I can focus on pulling the engine, getting a new engine in there. I'm still on the lookout for another VQ 35DE non-rev up in the Pacific Northwest. I'll pretty much drive anywhere, but if you guys are closer to the Portland area, then that would be cool. I definitely need a mint running one. I don't want somebody hitting me up with a spun rod bearing, because obviously this one already has a bad whole thing. So comment down below if you guys think that I should do anything with the truck. Maybe take it off-roading, maybe take it to the beach, go drive it in the sand. I think it'll be really fun, and I think it's really funny. So I'm gonna peace out, guys, here, and hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, because this car's gonna be done very soon, and the truck, well, the truck's a shit truck. Peace out.